You know, maybe just before there'll be Old Spice and stockings all over the holidays. Mike?
Well, I think it sometimes helps to reverse engineer these things. There's only three things you do in business, and any business. It's you want new sales from new customers, right? You want to retain existing customers, and you want to make your existing business more profitable. Those are only three things you do, including things like vacuuming the floors. You vacuum the floors because it makes employees happy, and employees are happy, and they retain customers and bring in new customers. Everything you do revolves around those three goals. You want to set those three goals at the top of your dashboard and work backwards. What things can I measure to let me know if I'm getting new sales? What contributes to new sales? What contributes to me retaining my existing customers? Are those customers getting more profitable? Am I bringing in more high-value customers than I used to? Are they coming through this channel? Am I retaining my customers longer than I used to because of the activities I'm doing here? That's kind of the way that I look at it.
And that's exactly where the numbers you already have become very, very valuable. Because when you backwards engineer, you know the results. You want higher sales, you want higher retention, you want certain aspects to be higher. The problem is creating that hard wire between measuring conversations which were never measurable before, and your old shopkeep down in the 50s who knew that if people talked about them, they'd eventually come in. Come on, folks. I actually had to hang out a shop just to get that dialect down. Really? Oh, thank you. We'll go with Paulin and cartoon voices for 500 later. But you mock me, yet I can do them. But the numbers you have, plus the numbers that you now can get through even existing social media tools, there are two things you have to look when you find the correlation. Is it a convenience or is it an actual causal relationship? And sometimes the answer is you're not sure, but here's what's happening, here's what's not happening, and if one of the numbers goes down later, you may be able to find out for sure which one it is. How many do you need? It depends on a number of specifics, but bottom line is, this ain't rocket science anymore. It's a little closer than we'd like it to be, but it's there. Todd, I see you putting something together in your head. I'm calling on you, Todd.
No, it's not. It's not rocket science. The real problem is there's so much that you can measure and so much that you can engage in. It's hard.
You know, and that's an interesting point. I'm sorry, Sean.
I was going to say, I think that a point that you harped on before is that what people forget to do is not even figuring out how we're going to sort of measure the intangibles, but what are your business goals? Instead of keeping all that up in the clouds, like what exactly are you trying to achieve? And then actually, once that is considered tangible, then it makes it easier to measure. But so many people just forget that step. They skip right to the...
They forget the business goals when that's the starting point. I think you're right. I think that's the part I miss hearing a lot when I hear other folks talk, is they start right with the measure, and then they get lost. Right with the conversations, because it's the most important thing. It's the newest thing. It's something we all are still new at. I'd like to point to a social media guru. There are none. Everyone is still new at this. You can still go find people who are saying, what's Twitter? And why would I care about what people had for lunch? In which case, thank you for everyone tweeting about Boloco. Well, that was a tweet with a purpose. That was a thank you tweet. That's different. But trust me, they're measuring it. They are, and they're probably pretty happy. I'd like to, anyone from Boloco? Oh, good. I was going to ask them if they were happy. But back from the business, and I think I have about 2 minutes to wrap. I'm sorry, did you have anything? Start from the business goals that are important to what's going to keep your business alive, what's going to keep it growing, what's going to keep the people there happy. There's a change going on. It's going into conversations. The internet has become a place where people are working as if they were next door neighbors. And guess what? It works. We all know it works. But measuring it now, we have to be creative, because the business models I work in are different than yours. And for once, there is no silver bullet that would work as the same profit and loss sheet here is good there, but it's not profit and loss. It's conversations, and it's the way people interact with your product, with your idea, with what is important in your company. So you may have to find your own correlations that work for you, that indicate growth, and there is one thing I will warn you about. Once you have them down, they will change, because these are behaviors. So the only sure thing is it's going to change again. I don't think that was very comforting, but I'm sorry about that. But it is true. So the best advice I can give you is that this is a cycle. It is measure, remeasure, correlate, start again, and your hypotheses, and work them out. And I will be here. Todd is a good resource. Mike, Rizzo, let's see, who else? And actually, about everyone here is a good resource for you today too, which is one of the great things about Podcamp. Any other comments or questions for the group?
Question back to your first slide. How is the psychographic, how is that measured? What are the quantifiable ways they can measure that?
How are psychographic measurements done? Those are opinions, attitudes, and values. If you've ever talked in Facebook about political affiliation or issue affiliation, if you've ever talked or posted in forums about certain aspect, if you've ever said which team you are for or against, all of that in different places becomes measurable. I have a strong feeling that at one point in the not too distant future we'll be able to see all that, or I hope we'll be able to see all that. Those elements are mined. They are put in databases that companies can buy who have they like to think about a 98% of measuring it, attaching it to the right person. But one of those key ones are Facebook, which now shut off if your privacy settings were shut there.
Wouldn't that be an area that was very easy, like you talked about, with regional ideas of sarcasm and different things? Wouldn't that be very easy to get the wrong data out of the same keyword searches and things?
Would the regionalisms make it easier to get the wrong data?
Not just the regionalisms, but just that you mentioned team, mentioned the political. You could be mentioning it to the positive or the negative, depending on how you construct the sentences. You know, is that data accurate? Is
the data accurate? Right now, a lot of the folks will tell you, not yet. Even those who are working it, but they are working it. I have you back there. Did I have you first?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if I'm hearing you right, you're saying that ultimately, like you said, there's these main core metrics you're looking for. You want to see if you're getting, sales, new sales, profitability, and what you're saying is basically social media. We didn't used to be able to measure it because there was no way to, but now that it's come along, we can measure these. We can redefine all of these, but still, basically contextually per organization or business or whatever, you can pick and choose these and have it be your extra new supplemental data to tie in to those main core.
Right. For instance, I can tell you what our hot product for Christmas is going to be already, just by looking at what's being, where if it stays on the trajectory, fine. But if it's like American Idol, where it goes down and someone else goes up at the last minute, not so good. Okay. Yes, sir. Okay. Yes.
Can we use social media to do the kind of thing that Nick Christakis over at Harvard Medical School does in healthcare policy called SNA, or social network analysis? It seems like the hottest thing in social science research. And I wonder how social media can be employed in the service of that, because the techniques that they use for SNA are really very sophisticated and complicated, and I don't see them using social media at all. Is that too big a question?
Social network analysis is extremely complicated, but that's probably, I'm curious, what's the feel in the room for those who are familiar with SNA, that ultimately we're going in that direction? It's actually contextual analysis, which is much more, and in addition, the social network analysis to determine influencers may have a bigger push.
But Facebook's going there.
Facebook is going there?
Yeah. I mean, that's why they
Say a
reset
little
all
more.
their pages,
Right.
Everything's a node at Facebook. And that's what that's all about. It's now analyzing nodes and relationships and networks.
Facebook, and don't forget all the games in there are actually doing a lot of measurement.
So one of the biggest things that I think needs to be kind of discussed here is real-time time, right? So now it's not a delayed reaction, it's a right now reaction. It's not, like Jeff Pulver said, it's not new media, it's now media. Now we get to know the context of what you're discussing in real time, whether we're in this room or anywhere in the world, just with our phone. So now that gives us some real-time analysis over the, Old Spice commercial, right? Like as soon as it went out, and one of the biggest phenomena of that, it was real time. They were putting up videos like 200 in 24 hours. That was never done before, right? They were creating more content as more feedback, as they were receiving the feedback, and that grew. And then they could stop, but that could still live on. So it's data that's in real time that could be, that you could analyze right afterwards. We never had that.
We never had that, and if that went up and some of the sites that cross-posted that, man, if I was them, Linkshare, or any of the other affiliate marketing sites, I would have had my stuff all over that.
Ride the wave.
Ride the wave. It's now media. It's happening right now. We have to react right now. And in about 9 minutes, you have to react to something else. So, thank you very much.